So let's go ahead and get moving and grooving. I shared the agenda with you. I can throw it back in here in the chat as well. I don't think it's going to take all that long. First one's really just kind of making sure we're all comfortable with how things are going to roll for the course. But I would like for those that are on the call just to do real quick introductions, because I think one of the powers of this is, as many of you know, if you do stuff with STEM or computer science or robotics, we tend to be in silos in our own districts just because there's not a lot of us. So I think one of the key things here is just to kind of build your own networking. We've got a lot of people in this class that have some Lego EV3 experience, or maybe are learning for the first time, that can bring a lot of knowledge. So I'll just jump in here first and get rocking and rolling. So I'm the instructor, Aaron Maurer. I work at the AEA as a STEM lead. I think I know most of you that are in this course through just lots of prior work. I am a Lego US Master Educator. So I've been doing that for several years, just supporting districts and people all over the US and beyond. I did have a first Lego League team for 8 years. So that's where I know a lot of people in this class are looking at it through that angle, as well as classroom implementation. So the class will try to weave between both thinking through strategies of first Lego League as well as classroom application. So we were lucky enough to win the state. I don't know what year it was, and we actually got to compete in Worlds in Legoland, so that was pretty cool. And coming out in a month, I got a book, not on the EV3, but on their newest robot kit, so that's also exciting and nerve-wracking as well. So I am a Lego nerd and hobbyist and all that good stuff, so I'm excited to actually be able to do this for my job and not just in the after hours. So that's just quick a little bit about me. And I'm just going to go through people on my screen here. So next up on my screen is Julie. So Julie, if you want to just let people know who you are, what you do, where you work, that kind of good stuff, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Sure. I'm Julie Leonard. I teach at Glidden Ralston, which is about an hour west of Ames. I'm 30. I am the 4th through 12 technology teacher, the family consumer science teacher, and the talented and gifted teacher. So I started out with Lego with my tag kids, and then I moved into FLL. I had a dad who loved it. He loved Legos, and they moved on me last year. So he usually did all that. So I got 2 wonderful moms who are willing to help me coach next year. So we just sort of faltered through it this year. So we're all 3 taking it, hoping to better understand how the robot works.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining. I appreciate you letting us know who you are and what you do. Welcome.
Thanks.
Next here on my screen, I have Allie. So Allie, I don't know if you're available to jump on and say hi, but if you can, that'd be great.
Sure. Hi. All right. So I am a fellow U.S. Lego Master Educator, and I'm really curious to see how that Aaron does this online and is able to really engage everybody. I've been FLL coach as well, and I have an entire basement full of Lego kits right now, so that are currently unused. I'm a virtual school teacher, have been for 14 years, so you know, with working with Lego, robotics, and virtual, I typically am in person. Obviously, right now we're not, but and I'm in Kansas. I'm down in Olathe, Kansas, and my school is down in Mays, Kansas. So, but virtual, you can teach anywhere. So, anyway, but thank you, Aaron, for letting me join and everything else. So,
yeah, thanks for.
I'm excited to learn.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I'm glad to have you in the class as well.
Yeah.
All right, we got Greg. You're up next.
All right, I'm Greg Smith. I teach at Davenport West High School in Davenport, Iowa. Teach industrial technology and engineering. I also coach robotics. I've been coaching VEX and FIRST Robotics for the last 11 years. I've coached now the second, third, fourth, and fifth level of FIRST Robotics, since they added a 5th level this year. So FLL, Explore, FLL Challenge, FTC, and FRC. And so my experience is mainly in FTC and FRC. In 2017, we won the world championship for FTC. And so I've been around the world doing some stuff with robotics. So we have a project going on right now in Kenya where we're working with teams in a school there doing what are we doing? The previous to the EV3, the NXT. And so I know how to build stuff, but I don't spend a lot of time programming. So that's why I'm taking this course. And then my daughter, Vera, is a student, so she can introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Vera, and the experience that I have with the EV3 is we're using it, this year was my first year using EV3 Classroom, and it was pretty confusing.
Yeah, I agree. Moving to the EV3 Classroom, I love LabVIEW. I love the original coding platform, EV3 Classroom.
I
Makes
think we
my
were
brain tumbly jumbly.
So great are you, Vera?
I'm in 4th grade.
Awesome.
I think we were originally going to do the original.
Awesome. Well, welcome. And for those that don't know, Greg, his team literally is known around the world. They've had quite a bit of success, and their community outreach is pretty phenomenal. So if you're working in the FRC, FTC type of world as well, definitely someone to reach out to because they have just done some incredible work, not just for the state of Iowa, but literally globally, especially in the work in Kenya and other places as well. So thanks again for joining, Greg and Vera as well. Looking forward to having both of you here in the course. I think next up we've got Carol. So Carol, how are you? Who are you? What do you do? And all that good stuff.
Hi. This is all new to me. Are you seeing me?
Yeah, we see you.
Okay, good. I teach at Calamus Wheatland. That's on Highway 30, west of DeWitt, Iowa. I teach high school math and science, and presently I'm teaching a junior high STEM class with Sue Heilig. And we're hoping to learn and incorporate some of this stuff. We're ready to roll with it with the kids right away. And I feel that I'm a novice. I have a lot to learn.
Awesome. Well, welcome. And I know you'll pick up quick. I've done some work with you before, and so you'll be phenomenal in this course as well. So welcome, Carol.
Thank you.
Next up, we got Terry. I think she's done driving here. It looks like she's enjoying the sunshine after a week of doom and gloom rain. So Terry, who are you and what do you do?
I am done driving. So my name is Terry Smith. I teach middle school in DeWitt, Iowa. I teach middle school STEM, so I teach a little bit of everything. I have had FLL teams for the past 4 or 5 years, ever since I've been at the middle school. And my main goal of this is we're kind of switching. I know everything. We've always used the LabVIEW platform, and so now I think next year I need a couple of my other classes to switch computer to the Catalina or whatever. So that means the old LabVIEW is out, and so I have to learn how to use the new one. So this is giving me a reason, an excuse, and a time to actually sit down and do it before the first week of school.
Yeah, there you go. Sometimes we need that nudge and that constant reminder to just do that thing that's on our to-do list that's about 87 miles long. And Terry also does phenomenal stuff. When she says she does a little bit of everything, I think last time I was in her classroom, she was doing 5 or 6 different preps between computer science, STEM, and makerspace. And so she's doing some incredible work as well. So if you're a middle school person looking for how do you organize, how do you deploy, how do you teach and do all that, a phenomenal asset. She has earned lots of awards in Iowa as well for the work that she does. So another person that's just great to have in terms of that teacher voice. We know how important a teacher voice is, and I think that's one of the powers of this particular class, having all of you on this call. So welcome, Terry.
Thank you.
Next, we got Sue. So Sue, who are you? What do you do? Oh, you're on mute there, Sue. There's always one in every.
Sorry, I know. I'm the teacher librarian at Calamus Wheatland and I work with Carol. She and I have been doing a STEM class, and next year I get to do it all by myself. Carol's going to do some other math, And so we've used the Legos in the past, but we've kind of just done one small thing with them. A lot of time we have just done that sumo bots. So next year I'd like to do more with them. So I think I'll probably go through all these lessons with them next year. So
Awesome.
Time to learn more.
And Sue also is a queen of all trades, like all of you. So I know it's like a broken record, but she deploys stuff K-12 and is always trying to figure out how to make things work. So just, again, another phenomenal person, along with Carol there and Kyle Wheat, working together of just trying to figure out how to do what's best for kids and make it fit in a schedule that's already too jam-packed as is. So just, hopefully, as we continue to work through this course, you guys kind of reach out to one another, and kind of see how we all do things, because I think that's even more important than learning how the coding is. Then, okay, now what? How do I do this with the full class of students as well? So I think the last person we've got is Miranda. Miranda, I'm not sure if you're available, if you're able to jump in and say hi. Oh, looks like you're on mute.
Sure.
So go ahead.
So I'm also driving, but I can for sure talk to you while I drive. I am Miranda Lawrence, and I'm the tech coordinator and computer teacher at Lawrence Catholic School, which is actually just down the street from Erin. So I am excited about this because in my computer teaching part of my job, I do a lot of coding with our kids in our classroom. And so our kids have done a lot with Scratch. So I was excited to see that it's on a Scratch platform now, because they'll have a little bit of pre-existing knowledge with that. So that'll be great for them. But our guidance counselor, who is also our First Lego League coordinator at our school, is also taking this class, but just not on the call right now. And so she and I are both taking this to just get a little bit more knowledge about how to improve our teams and their knowledge, and some of those things we've just never quite been able to figure out or do well. We would love to figure out and get a little more knowledge of. And selfishly, her daughter and my son are both, maybe not selfishly, but they're both on the robotics team. So we're probably going to make them help us out and learn a little bit right alongside us. So we don't have to teach them later. We'll just teach them while we learn as well.
There you go. Awesome. Well, thank you, Miranda, for jumping on, and appreciate you safely multitasking of talking and driving at the same time.
And I'm parked right now, so we're good.
Oh, there you go. All right, there you go. Awesome. Well, I'm going to jump over here real quick and just share my screen and just get into this agenda here. So we've got a chance. I know we've got a total of 12 educators in this course, a handful of parents and some students. And so you might be seeing just a wide range of people coming into the class as we go. So I think we've got 7 people tonight. I won't spend forever on this, but I did throw some norms in. And I know we have norms for everything under the sun. And sometimes they can be a little, like let's just gloss over it. But I put these in here. These are things we use at the AEA. But I think these are really good for the sense of our Slack channel in terms of sharing. I know one thing that's hard for educators is to share ideas and reach out, because we think that's, we don't always have the best ideas, and you do. So I'm just really hoping that as we go through this course in that Slack channel and some of these weekly office hours, we come together, that we share, and we play, we have fun, we experiment, we tinker, all the things we expect with our students, for us to take on that kind of just playful student learner mode as we go through this. So we've already taken care of introductions. What we're going to do here as we get rocking and rolling, we will have a weekly online meeting. I have it in the class that they're required for the sake of those taking it for grad credit or relicensure. I know that schedules are tight and tough, and so they'll always be recorded. And the weekly meetings are really, after this week, a lot of this is just making sure you're set up for success, will be to cover what you learned, what questions you have, and what you were stuck on. So almost just kind of more like troubleshooting or sharing the work that we've been doing, and kind of just working through some of those things collectively. So trying to replicate as much as we can, where, normally we could do this, like I say, in a 2-day workshop, face-to-face. We could get through a lot of this stuff and work together. Those weekly office hours will be designed for that, like we have tonight. And so I sent out at the end of this agenda, you have access to it, a link to a doodle poll for next week. mean, ideally, it'd be nice to have the same time each week, but I also know each week is crazier and crazier, so we might have to adjust there. So we'll just see where that lands for those office hours, and I'll get that out to you. In terms of the workload, as we go through this class, each week we'll launch a new lesson. We're going to be using the robot trainer lessons. It's found online, or if you have the software already downloaded on your program under unit plans, if you haven't seen it yet, it's right here in the robot trainer. So what I'm trying to do with this, I'm not trying to be lazy and just cop out of designing work, but I want you to be able to have access to lessons and ideas that are also available for your students. So as you're going through this, I want you to also be kind of looking at it through your educator, coach, parent lens in terms of how could I apply this to my classroom? Maybe it's the exact lesson, maybe it's tweaking it a little bit. So I want you just to know that the resources are all kind of embedded within the software. And we're just gonna work through each of these as we go. And so just so you're aware of that, all these things are also available on the LEGO Education website if you rather have the online. And there's also even an option to print that off if you are a paper copy person. They have a PDF you can download and just print it all off as well. So what I've tried to do in this course, while we go through the lesson in the unit, is to also in the videos and things I'll provide on the complimentary website that I've put together for you as well, is in the videos, and eventually when we get into some more of the lessons, I've tried to put through classroom application, first LEGO League application, and things to think about, things that I used to teach our teams and our students as well. So there's not a whole lot here in the getting started or lesson one, but as we get into like line following, we get into, you know, looking at data and analyzing data to make decisions with our robots, I will navigate like how we work through that or common mistakes that students make. So I'm trying to weave those into video to help you. And obviously it sounds like some of you already have some experience, so you could also share your knowledge with that as well. The other thing, as we go through that, that portfolio of work that's also on the website, really what I'm working for here is I have to be able to make sure that I can share, if they were to do an audit and check the class, that I have proof that you guys have completed the work. So each lesson, there are 6 steps through it. And usually the first 4 are just learning. And I've put some conversation prompts for the Slack channel for you to just go through and share what those are and just kind of get some conversation between you guys. And so you'll see in the Slack channel, we've got a LEGO one, which is just in general for just stuff, just for a general idea and questions. So a lot of you jumped in and already said hello. And then we've got lesson channels for each of the 7 lessons, so they're more specific. So as you go through those and want to share, upload pictures, you can do that. And the reason I chose Slack is a couple reasons. I know it's not widely used in education, but to me, it's really easy to take pictures and video, because you can just download the Slack app on your phone. I'm assuming that's how most of you are going to record your robots or take pictures of your code. And then you can just load that from the Slack app right into it, as opposed to recording on your phone and then trying to upload it to your drive and then trying to put it here. I was trying to streamline that process so you have that as well. And this will just help you guys learn from one another. The beauty of this, there's tutorials that walk you through all 6 steps. But really the idea gets down to application and how do we create new ideas as well. So you'll see those main things there. I know there are a ton of other channels. So these are just other courses that I've ran in the past. And so hopefully some of those people will come back into the Slack and engage with the work, and just continues to build your network with educators who've been doing lots of this type of work around the world. So it's hopefully a benefit for you as well. But getting back to that portfolio of work, at the end, I would just like to have like one link, whether you use just a Google Doc that has your own links break out, if you create a Google Sites, could be a slide deck. I don't really care how you create your portfolio work, but what I'll need at the very end is just proof that you completed the challenge. So it'll always be step 5 of each lesson, that you have proof of your video of the robot doing it or attempting to do it, and access to your code. And that can just be a screenshot, just so that people say, you know, if some of you are taking this for grad credit, go, I want to know, you know, that Terry did this work. I can just give them a link and be like, boom, all her work's right here. So those are the two main things are the reflection and your robot actually doing the work. And the rest, basically steps 1 through 4 of each lesson, is just there for you to kind of just have some conversation with those around you. You can help each other. You can share each other's code. You can troubleshoot. We're all in this together. You know, there's no such thing as cheating. YouTube probably has 300 answers to all of these as well. So if you go into YouTube and just type in the prompts, you're going to find what you need. But really the idea is what I want you to be able to do for the most part is to challenge yourself to see if you can do it on your own first. And if you get to that point of frustration where you feel like you're going to shut down, then go seek out answers. So just like those types of things that we work through ourselves, things we're trying to teach our students, there's a lot of people and resources to learn from, but we also have to make sure that we understand it as well. Any questions on part 2 of just kind of the brief overview of the course itself? All right, so we'll move on. Agenda 3, really quick. You've already got these in a couple emails. The things we're going to be using. I've got the course site. It's just a complimentary website where I've tried to put videos and additional resources as we go through this to help you along with the lessons and tutorials. I was actually just recording one for lesson 4 here where I walked through as if I was a student that would make the same mistakes I see students make over and over again with line follow. And so I'm just kind of walking through that problem solving process. So all those videos will be housed there in the course site. The robot trainer unit that we're going to use is linked there as well. It's also within the software. And you will need a Lego EV3 kit. We'll all be building. If you want to get clever and challenge yourself in building technique, you can build something more expansive. But we'll all be using the basic robot base build for all these lessons. And we'll just be adding attachments as we go. Especially when we get to lesson 7, I'm going to give you a challenge to completely design a robot from scratch, as well as some code challenges. If you want to tinker with the robot build and do something much more clever, I challenge you to, by all means, do that. If you want to think about, a lot of you mentioned First Lego League. This robot won't get you very far in First Lego League. It's a good start, but if you want to start thinking about attachments and designs, by all means, you can always deviate from that base kit that we're going to be using. But that's all there just so we have a uniform starting point for the course. We've already talked about Slack a little bit, so I think most of you are in. So just make sure that you're using that, and however you want to use it. I know it's just one more thing that nobody has time for, but I think the more we share, communicate, ask questions, troubleshoot with one another, just the more robust this course gets, especially because we're virtual. We're usually 2 days together. We usually end up kind of forming a tight little bond, and that naturally happens. It's a little harder to do virtually. So Slack is my attempt to make it as close as possible for that. And if you get stuck with Slack and need help, I'm always welcome to jump on a call and kind of walk you through that. So for this week, and I know I'm doing a lot of talking, and these next weeks forward will be very little me talking and more of you guys showcasing and demoing and doing that kind of stuff. But this week's work is to go through the getting started. That's a lot of what I'm covering here, but just with the videos in more detail, and to work through lesson 1. Lesson 1 is going to have you build the base and just learn how to move the motors in the EV3 classroom platform, and looking at how to do 3 different types of turns. So there's 3 ways to turn your robot, so you'll explore that. I think at max, the getting started lesson 1 should not take you any more than a total of 5 hours. I know everyone moves at a different pace, but I think a lot of you will get through that probably in 2 hours, to be honest. But that 2 to 5 hour range is kind of how I have the time budgeted. That would be if you watch every single video and then try to do your application and the uploading of your work. So I really don't think it'll be 5 hours, but that's the time that we've kind of budgeted. And if you go over, there's nothing wrong with that either. Again, we all learn and move at different places as well. So that's all there for you as we do that. And really, I think at the end of this week is just to make sure that you have a robot that's built and can move forward and can turn. And one of the challenges, there's a challenge of this week is going to be to move your robot a specific distance. Can you stop at a certain marking on your yardstick? So starting off rather simple because we can learn how to move and everything else kind of takes place. From there, if you haven't looked at the robot trainer stuff, we will then get into the color sensor, the touch sensor, the gyro sensor, the ultrasonic sensor, understand how that works, how they play well together and integrate, and we move and groove from there. And so if you are like me, the lab view made complete sense, and sometimes this new software can be a little confusing. If you're brand new to all of it, you don't even know what we mean by lab view, then it won't be confusing at all because you don't have a whole different mindset of coding to kind of work through. So hopefully I think that's where a lot of you are stuck is that mode there. So my goal as we get into the further weeks, I will share several different ways to do stuff so you can kind of play around with that as well. Any questions on any of that? I know that's fast and rapid, but I don't want to waste your time here on a Monday already. But is there anything there that you guys have questions on or want me to go over in greater detail? All right, so the last couple things, just follow up at the bottom of this agenda. There's a link for our meeting for next week. We will talk about lesson 1, moving our robot. And if you have questions or want to show off what you created or anything like that, obviously I know we have the Slack, but sometimes it's nice just to actually talk and brainstorm with people live, and I can't say in the flesh, so in the virtual flesh there, so to speak. So I will close that poll of Thursday of this week and make sure you have that invite by Friday. And then I have lesson 2 set to be open by Friday, April 16th. And probably at that point, I will also open up lessons 2, 3, and 4. So those that just, I know time is always of the essence. So if you need, you've got a chunk of time, in between the next 3 weeks where it just makes sense to plow through them, I want you to have access to that. So I'll share at least lessons 2, 3, and 4 by Friday. And then next week I'll open up weeks 5, 6, and 7. So that way at least you can see it all. We'll still move week to week as if we're doing one lesson at a time. But I know that that's not always feasible for people. This time of year is crazy busy. The last thing that I have, there are 2 questions that have come up through email. What to do if we have students who are joining. The AA system is not really all that user-friendly to get students in, because then you have to try to find their parents and have the parents sign up. So if you decide that you're going to have students, just email me and let me know, and I will just make sure those numbers are recorded. The reason that this is important is this class is challenging our system in a good way. And how do we rethink what we offer to our community that we live and work in? And so the more, if we have those numbers and I can say, hey, I had 5 students do this, as well as 12 teachers, as well as 3 parents, it gets them thinking like, wow, like there's a market for this, which allows me to have more permission to teach more of these types of classes. I know speaking with a lot of you, the idea is like, where are the specific classes in the realm of STEM, computer science, robotics, if we're looking for a relation to a grad credit, you can find those for every other subject. So in order to be able to continue to launch and deploy those on my end, I have to be able to, persuade them that the numbers are there, and we're already in a great spot for this course as well. So just email if you've got students, and I'll take care of that on the back end, so you don't have to try to convince parents to figure out how to log in and go through that. It's too much at this point. We got to figure out a better system, but it is what it is right now. And I covered the second question already. We've got a base build we'll use, the instructions in the software, but if you want to push your challenges and expand beyond that one, by all means, go for it. Some of you have FLL experience, so you kind of know a base body. If you have an old FLL mat and you have that set up, by all means, use that. This whole entire unit will work perfect for First Lego League. So as we use stuff, you can just set up an old arena and just kind of work through this learning as well. And so for me, I just have my basement, so I'm relying a lot on masking tape, of black masking tape and white masking tape. But if you've got all that stuff in place, use it to your advantage, because that'll just help you be better as an educator and a coach and a mentor for the upcoming FLL season, whatever that chooses to be here when they go to launch the next season. So that is the agenda. I'm going to stop sharing here. Thoughts, questions, concerns, something you need to know before you get going this week? How we feeling? Anything at all? Or are we all in a great place to rock and roll here?
Aaron, I have a quick question about the robots. We are doing a kind of like an intro to robotics session after school right now at Lord's. And so we have a couple robot kits, but we're also kind of using them with the kids right now. So is it a problem if we'll get them, we'll have them built correctly and stuff like that. And then if the kids are using them to program and work on at the same time that we're using them for this class?
I'll be fine. It'll be fine. I mean, a lot of this work that we're doing is just adding a sensor and understanding basically how the sensor works. And so none of these lessons are going to require a specific robot build, if that makes sense. So if the kids are building, you could probably just even take one of those for your own learning and just throw on a sensor, and that would be a good challenge in and of itself to see how it works. So
that was kind of our thought.
Yeah, the software gives you a basic build. It's very minimal, but you can use any robot. So you'll be perfectly fine with that.
Perfect. Thanks.
Anything else on your guys' end here? All feeling pretty good for the start? All right. Well, I'm not going to waste your time. And I won't put in the infamous AEA joke of waiting for the teacher wait time either. We're just going to move and groove. We have the Slack channel. You can throw in those questions and comments. We have that network. We can help each other as we go. So just use that to your advantage. I know it's one more thing, but I think it'll be really helpful as we go. Week one is just getting that robot to move in those turns. And there's lots of ways to do that. And some of you maybe already know how to do that. So, if there's better ideas, by all means, what I'm sharing is just a small sliver of possibilities. So if you've got better ways, that would be an awesome opportunity for you to share that out so that we can all learn and just kind of build that network. Because we never know. A lot of you mentioned FLL, so you guys might have some coaches to brainstorm in your back pocket. I know one of the things we did when I was still working at Bettendorf is we scrimmaged all the time with other local schools. And we would bring half our practices were bringing a school to us or going to that school and just having the kids show and document. I know you got your little hidden secrets you don't want anybody else to know about because that's your game plan, but just that idea of like collaboration. So, as we go through that, don't be afraid to share. And I know teachers hate sharing because they think their idea is never good enough. It is. So this is a good place for us to do this so that you can turn around and model to your students. So like, I did the same thing, and that's how we got better. So, so that's what I've got. I will. I'm gonna stop recording here.